Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. The search for greener pastures comes with a price, and those perceived greener pastures must create the necessary infrastructure for population growth. That is the challenge with the nation's capital, a massive influx of people, and the infrastructure is breaking down. Now, all hope is not lost, but the FCT administration must take decisive action now, complete these ongoing projects, and kick off the new transport management system. Come up with alternatives to reduce the cars on roads. That's what other major cities do. How can they do this? We'll get to that shortly. First, in Nigeria's seat of power, the vice president is doing damage control across the country, visiting Ebonyi and Imo states. He attended the First Lady's book launch and decorated Nigeria's new Inspector General of Police.
Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo was in Ebonyi State following the communal clash and violent attacks which claimed several lives. While promising to beef up security across the country, the Vice President is vowing to ensure justice for victims of the attack. Professor Osinbajo was also in Imo State within the week after gunmen attacked the state police headquarters and the Owerri Correctional Center, releasing all the inmates. He also commissioned a road project executed by the state government and urged the people to reject agents of disunity and anarchy. The Vice President also decorated Mr. Usman Baba as the Acting Inspector General of Police. During the ceremony, Professor Osinbajo urged the new police chief to ensure that the police regain the trust of Nigerians.
Under your leadership, the police must now rebuild, in some ways also, the broken bridges of trust with the public and regain the confidence of the citizenry. This is an ongoing challenge, it's an ongoing task that the police force and all of the senior members of the police force must take on as a responsibility.
Meanwhile, Mr. Baba has resumed office, and during his first meeting, he promises to ensure that the police is restored as a major force in the country.
The task of restoring the primacy of Nigerian police in the internal security architecture of the country is the main challenge ahead of all of us. It is, however, a task that I am convinced we can surmount if we resolve as a people to partner and present a common front against the subversive and criminal elements who are the common enemies of the whole nation.
In the meantime, the Vice President presided over the tripartite committee meeting of the All Progressives Congress, consisting of the leadership of the executive, legislative arms of government, as well as other party members. Addressing State House correspondents after a meeting of the tripartite committee, the Senate President explains that the party is stable and more organized because of the validation exercise.
Generally, we are very pleased with what our party, the Caretaker Committee, is doing. That in addition to the registration and validation exercise, we are making serious inroads. We are getting more and more people either coming back to APC where they were before, or people from the PDP, the campaign to the APC. And this is to tell you that APC is becoming better and more organized, and of course the other parties are disorganized, and therefore their adherents, some feel, well, they have no reason to continue to stay in a very disorganized environment, and therefore they have options in the APC. And we are also very pleased that this stability in our party will galvanize the party into winning its elections from Anambra, which I think holds in November this year, and of course the other seasonal elections, gubernatorial elections that will hold next year.
Meanwhile, Professor Osinbajo also attended a book launch in honor of the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, who he described as dynamic and unprecedented.
She's, of course, the First Lady to be on Twitter, on Instagram, and other social media platforms, getting her unfiltered views across to the Nigerian people. And she's probably the first to receive in real time the opinions of Nigerians on her views. With her views forthright, crisp, truthful, and once in a while controversial, she has established an ongoing conversation with the Nigerian people. Let me end with the words of Aisha Buhari's doting sweetheart, the man who knows her best, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, and I quote him, "I've observed with keen interest as she addresses many of the social concerns that have given her sleepless nights. She has therefore been a worthy partner and a beacon for some of the good things that Nigerians have come to identify with our government." End of quote. And I concur. I agree.
Professor Osinbajo also attended the launch of a book on Guardian newspaper in Lagos. He insists that the media must demonstrate a greater awareness of the society while upholding the principles of balance, objectivity, and fair hearing. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the transformation of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 into a new Presidential Steering Committee with modified responsibilities. This followed the submission of the terminal report of the PTF to the President after the expiration of the initial tenure, which was extended from December 2020 to March 2021.
Welcome back. The major entry points into Abuja are plagued with traffic gridlocks every day. That's because, unlike Lagos, every government office is in the city center. And that extends to private businesses too. Everyone comes into the city center to work, and more than half of Abuja residents live in the suburbs. So gridlocks in the mornings and gridlocks in the evenings on these major entry points are just a fact of our life here. Our feature story looks at the sheer scale of the traffic problem in the FCT and what possible remedies can be adopted.
Abuja city centre is renowned for its good road network, as motorists travel with ease within the city. The story is, however, very different for residents in some of the satellite towns who must find their ways to the city centre to work every weekday. From the Yaya-Maraba axis to the Gwarimpa-Kubwa axis and the Lube Airport Road access point, the traffic story is the same. Motorists and other road users spend hours on traffic gridlock.
All we need is a bypass. But we don't know for this dual carriage they are doing. We don't know how long it's going to take us. But I think the most important thing is the bypass. It's going to solve a lot of problems.
The major thing that government needs to do, I think they need to expand this road. That would ease the hold up of this place.
Imagine people going to work, spending 2 hours on the road. So for me, the National Association of Road Transport Owners, National Union of Road Transport Workers, the Federal Road Safety, the VI have to come into synergy and find a way to make sure that even if it has to do with reorientation of road users, private and public road users, then we have to go into that such holistic method to get things right.
A higher population of Abuja residents live in the satellite towns, and this explains the heavy traffic leading into the city centre every morning and exiting the city every evening, especially on working days. This traffic situation is gradually gaining notoriety within the city, and it's mostly not within the rush hours.
The car is much. It's not as if the way it is before, you understand? And our own thinking is that people are no longer get job anymore again. Mostly people join transportation. You understand? Transportation is like man business now, that everybody come out and doing the transportation work now. So because of that, I think we have much cars in Abuja than before.
There's no provision for parking space. That is why everybody pick along the road. Do you understand? And passenger themselves, they doesn't go to park. They prepare roadside than inside park. So they find it very difficult. So what can we do? We don't have anything doing else than the driving. So we have to pick them in the road. Everywhere there we go. That's what causes the traffic, I think.
The FCT Minister, Malam Mohammed Bello, wants traffic managers within the nation's capital to address traffic congestion within the metropolis as Abuja continues to witness road accidents. According to the FCT sector of the Federal Road Safety Corps, 994 road accidents were recorded in 2020. Over 1,200 vehicles were involved in accidents, which involved over 4,500 persons. Over 200 deaths were recorded in these accidents, while over 1,700 people sustained various degrees of injuries. Over 2,600 persons survived the crashes. The FRSC listed the major causes of accidents in the FCT as speed limit violation, overloading, tire bursting while driving, dangerous overtaking, and a lack of concentration by motorists. The FRSC believes more can be done to address the traffic congestion in the nation's capital.
Look at the rush hour in the morning, rush hour in the evening, and you discover that every other businesses, government businesses, private businesses, one-man businesses, they head from Kubwa to town, from Nyanyakaro to town, from the airport road to town, and then when work is over, everybody moves out. So if we do not find a way to spread business activity, maybe government considering moving some government offices to satellite towns, getting the satellite towns properly developed with every facilities, shopping malls, schools, whatever it is that you need, that will be an attraction. And then link up the satellite towns with the city center with light rails that will ensure that the attraction to drive your car does not arise.
The Abuja Light Rail System is envisaged as a solution to the gridlock by the FCT administration. However, the project, which has commenced some form of operation, is still not addressing the situation because it has limited access into the city centre. At the moment, 42.5 kilometers rail line can only commute from the central business district to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport on a 28-kilometer stretch. The FCT administration is also planning to reintroduce the bus rapid transit system to help tackle the chaotic state of transportation in the territory and its environs. The Abuja BRT project, which is planned to run over a 32.2-kilometer distance, will run from Eagle Square in the central business district to neighboring Nasarawa State as a component of the Abuja urban mass transit system. Nevertheless, there is no date for the commencement of the project.
My guest on the program is Mr. Wadata Bodinga, the Director General of the Directorate for Road Traffic Services. His office regulates traffic and public transportation in the FCT. Now, he agrees it's time to think outside the box and has plans that he says will handle Abuja's traffic and public transportation problem before the end of the year. He is, however, joining the call for rails and bus rapid transit systems to begin immediately in the nation's capital. Welcome to Dateline, Mr. Bodinga.
Thank you so very much.
So this is the Directorate of Road Traffic Services.
Yeah.
And you're the Director General. How old has this office been in existence? How long has this office been in existence?
This office has been in existence from the time the Federal Capital Territory, that is Abuja Ministry, was created. It started as a division and rise to a directorate in 2003, and since then it has always been referred to Directorate of Road Traffic Services, and the regulation was formulated in 2005 to give it that status.
So how long have you been Director General here?
Well, I've been here as acting capacity sometimes 2016, and then later I was confirmed in 2018, and since then I have been here.
So you basically look at road traffic in the FCT.
Yeah.
You've been at this job for a while. Has there been a mutation? Has there been a change? Because from the standpoint of a citizen, it feels like there has been a change. Like there's more traffic now. It used to be the outskirts, but now within the city center, and then some particular hot points. Tell me what changes you've noticed in the in traffic in the FCT?
Yeah, as you are aware that Abuja is actually the fastest growing city. And this development is not only limited to just human traffic, including vehicular traffic. People are trooping into Abuja for greener pasture, and you can see it. It's evident everywhere. And from the characteristics of the Abuja traffic, you can see that most of the traffic are actually coming into the city and then going out, because it's a two-way traffic in the city. People are coming in the morning, and in the evening they are going out. That is very different to what is happening, for example, in Lagos, where the traffic revolves around the city almost.
So housing has a role to play here, because most people live outside of the city center in Abuja, as opposed to Lagos, where everyone kind of stays in the city center.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you're saying that's part of what's
that is part of
our own special rhythm of traffic.
Special demography of traffic, yeah, certainly. And that has come with a lot of challenges, because when you have a traffic moving in one direction at the same time, except that we are lucky in the FCT that we have a lot of infrastructure. In cities, if it is if to our other states, that would have been impossible, because the volume of the traffic and the capacity of the road carriage would have been impossible for people to access the city. But if you look at the Kubwa as well as the Lubi Axis Road, you will see that the road capacity is almost 10 lanes put together. That's supposed to be there. So that means that the road has the capacity to carry the vehicular movement as they are coming in. But however, as they come into the city, the road continue to compress. And because of that, definitely you sometimes experience a little snail movement. Definitely is not hardly in the city you will see hold off, like what is happening in other mega cities. But you sometimes have a snail movement which is not literally called hold off. And most of those areas, we earmark them, and you always see our men are there trying to control the traffic and ensure that people reach their destination not only safely but also timely.
So let's talk a bit about some of those hot points.
Yeah.
Recently,
yes,
the Nyanya axis was in the news. People had to sleep in town on that day because the holdup, I think a trailer had fallen on.
Yeah, a tanker.
A tanker had fallen.
Yeah.
And of course, it's raised a lot of questions about the access road into that part of the FCT. People are calling for the Apple Karshi road to be fixed. You know, they're saying it has to be done immediately. We cannot continue like this. In fact, that particular Nyanya axis, many people who come to work from Nyanya try to get back to Nyanya before 4 o'clock because they know that if they're in that holdup, you're going to be stuck there for a long time. What's being done about that situation? And why is it so bad there?
Like what I told you, if you look at, this is simple mathematics. If you look at the road that is connecting, for example, Zuba Kubwa road coming down, and you talk about the one that is coming from Gwagwalada axis down to the city, you can see the road capacity with that of Yanyan is very different. From our counts, taking away those indices, even the movement of people coming into the city is almost half of the people are actually coming from that axis. So confile with the fact that the road capacity is not that big.
You said that twice. When you say road capacity, what do you mean?
I mean the width.
So not enough lanes.
It does it. But
how many lanes do you think would be sufficient?
Definitely should be like that of Kubwa.
So 10.
Yeah, and they are doing, you can see that work is in progress. But because of, construction usually take time, and these issues we have to continue to manage them together with other agencies. And I will tell you that truly, except the other incident that happened that day, the movement even along Yang Road has really subsidized from what we used to know. Because, you know, in the past, the hold-up used to escalate up to Power House Junction. From that Power House Junction off to, but with the opening of this Goodluck Jonathan by the Minister of FCT, all those issues to a certain extent has reduced. So let's come back to the issue of what happened in Yanya. That can normally happen in any road, because once you have a traffic standstill of 5 minutes, then what that will cause is about traffic gridlock of about 3 to 4 hours. So you can imagine when you have a gridlock, a whole tanker blocking the road for about an hour or 2, then you know what that means. And that is unfortunately the situation. Before we move in there to remove the truck, it is already, the traffic has already built up, and that is what has caused the problem. And you remember one thing again, the impatience too. Some people decided to start taking one way and block the people that are coming, and before you know, it's a big problem. So our personnel have to even leave the other end and come back to Abacha Barrack and start sending these people that have done one way. That time there is no need to arrest anybody. It's just to, how do we find a way? And our personnel left that place around 4:30 a.m. and come back. Just 30 minutes. They just go to take their baths and come back. Because by 5 a.m. they are already back. But by the special grace of God in the morning, everything has subsidized. Because people thought that if the relevant traffic agencies have not been there to actually do their job diligently, what has happened that day, even the hold-up was escalated up to next day. But because our people are very diligent, they were there, and that thing was abated.
All right. Well, Mr. Bodinga, you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much for being on Dateline.
Thank you so very much, and thank you for having me.
Thanks to Mr. Bodinga and everyone who spoke to us this week on Dateline Abuja. We end the show today as we began. The search for greener pastures comes with a price, and those perceived greener pastures must create the necessary infrastructure for population growth. That is the challenge with the nation's capital. A massive influx of people, and the infrastructure is breaking down. Now, all hope is not lost, but the FCT administration must take decisive action now. That's our show this week. Remember to let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing on your screen. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Megwa. See you next time.